Do you know when a cravat is big enough that the only way out is a stall? How can you tell the difference? Today, we're going to analyze a video from YouTube of a very experienced pilot flying a race glider and having to deal with this situation so that you know in the future of how much cravat is too much for you to handle. Ready? Here we go.
See ya.
I'm paragliding!
See ya.
Yo guys, what's up? This is Ari in the air. Welcome back to the channel. Stoked you're here. Stoked to be here. Been a whirlwind. I've been over on Instagram building the Paragliding men's group. It's been an incredible honor to guide men through their personal development and relational journeys. More on that soon. Today, we are going to break down this video of the Red Enzo. I'm not sure exactly who this is, but he's a very experienced pilot, and I can tell you how I know that just by watching this one 30-second GoPro clip. So let's pull it up. we're gonna watch this one time through, and then we'll go back and I will break it down, tell you what I see. Ready? Here we go. Okay, so he's flying full speed bar. It looks like Macedonia. It's probably a competition. There's lots of gliders in the sky. He's in turbulence. He looks at his glider. Big collapse. Sticks to the lines, and then the wingtip goes through the lines, and now is a huge flapping cravat. He's struggling for heading control, stalls the glider, reinflates, takes a huge cravat on the other side, so he knows he has to restall, gets a stable tail slide, and the glider shoots hard. He catches it, and what happens? He grabs the rears. Yep. Hold on. Oh, grabs the rears right back onto the speed bar. Okay, that's one of the reasons I know this guy's real experienced. So let's go back. Let's break this down. Right here, you can see there's a gaggle of pilots. I assume this is some kind of paragliding competition. It looks like Macedonia, Eastern Europe to me, just because of the long striated fields. That's the shape that those guys use over there. So let's go back to the beginning of the incident. First of all, he's an experienced pilot. He's on a race glider. It's an Enzo 3. He's got numbers on it, which look taped. The collapse itself isn't like that crazy or violent. It basically is a big downdraft onto one side of the glider or a big updraft onto the other, and it makes this big dog ear. You see that? I would say that 70% of the time on an Enzo, I've flown an Enzo lots, 70% of the time you get a collapse like this, it's going to blow right back out. Like it's going to just clear itself. This, you can see, there's basically no brake input across the glider as the glider is collapsed. Do you see? And right here, there's the first brake input. So right here, as the glider collapses, I would say enormous brake input. You know, surely he's pulling the left rear, it looks like. And he doesn't get on the brakes. But I think that a bunch of input could have helped this, right? But this is just the name of the game, man. We can't be like clairvoyant all the time. Sometimes we're a day late and $1 short. And so this is what our glider ends up looking like, which is a huge cravat. Okay. We've seen bigger on this channel. We saw one where the wingtip was looped around the opposite A line. This one is only looped on its own A. So this is like a 35% cravat. And immediately the glider starts turning to the right. You can see the left glider as it bends, and you see the deformation of the tail fabric. That's because he's pulling the left brake. Obviously, his GoPro, you can't see his hands. But he is struggling to have heading control. And the moment, and he's also kind of like pumping at the brake here, like hopefully, you know, sometimes these things do get a weird reinflation and kind of bust themselves out. And so it's not unreasonable to be hopeful of that. I would use more left brake than he did initially. But as the glider passes through the lines and now you have this flapping dog ear, this is a really bad configuration. And it's not actually guaranteed that this will come out at all. So he, at this point, realizes that he's going to need to stall. So as he increases left brake here, the glider stands up and he gets under it and the glider stalls. Okay. He's in a tail slide. So look, right, basically, as the glider stalls, we lose sight of the wingtip. But here we see that now it's coming off of the lines. The wind is going from behind the glider, behind the lines. It's pushing the sail fabric off of the lines. right? And now he is in an asymmetric stall, right? This is a pretty dynamic position to be stalled on an Enzo, but be patient, keep your hands down, let it flap around a little bit. So now he finds himself, this is much better look, and he starts to go hands up here. The glider wants to fly. It is cravated bad on the left side, which that's the same size cravat as it was. So don't let the glider auto rotate in that direction. Now he just restalls the glider. He needs to try again. This is a pretty typical look for a tail sliding Enzo. It's kind of folded over the B's, big dog ears flapping around. And you really just have to be patient here so that the wings tips clear the lines before you let it shoot here. On the right side, you can see he's very deep in the brakes, and the glider kind of like aggressively, like almost helis here. It's starting to fly on the left side, and it's still stalled on the right side. So this is why it's yawing. This is why it's like turning. And then he goes hands up, and the glider shoots. And then he basically immediately gets back on the bar and keeps flying in the competition. Very experienced pilot here. So let's go back and let's just remember that anytime you see the glider cravated like this, you need to pull and weight shift to the outside, to the flying side of the glider, and don't let the glider turn you, don't let the glider turn you, don't let the glider turn you. The more it tries to turn you, the more brake you pull. If it ends up that the glider stalls because of that, so be it. So once you're in this configuration, that's especially on a high aspect ratio glider, there's no way that's coming out unless the glider flies backwards and clears itself of this tangle. Original post of this is like, how big is a cravat that you know it needs to stall to get out of? Basically, you can tell because do you have heading control? If you have heading control comfortably, then there might be something you can do without stalling the glider. If you cannot get heading control and it wants to auto rotate and you continue to weight shift away from the collapse and you continue to pull the outside brake and it continues to turn, then keep pulling the brake, keep pulling the brake. Eventually it will stall, and that's how you know. But in general, like if the wingtip is caught on the inside A, then that's kind of a decent guess. As you can see here, lots of spaghetti lines and a huge cravat. So glad this worked out for the pilot. Very well done. Knowing that he had to stall twice, he had plenty of altitude, had probably 2 reserves on board also. So right back into the competition. This is badass. Thanks so much for sharing the video with us and letting us learn from this. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And also, there's a lot of stuff happening in the comments. When I share a video of an Enzo, people blame the glider and say, oh, it's only this happens with Enzos. And then people comment, they say, no, this happened to me on a B glider. So don't think that don't think about the glider here. It's really not about the glider. This is all about pilot control. I want you to understand the mechanisms for what high-level pilots are doing, because he's showing you how it's done here. Like collapses do happen to the best of us. You know, like Russ Ogden has stalled himself out of cravats on an Enzo. Like it's just inevitable. You fly enough, it's going to collapse, it's going to cravat. You got to know how to deal with it. So that's why I'm making these videos, hoping to just kind of pound this into your head. Don't let the glider turn you ever. Auto rotation is the most dangerous configuration in paragliding, and we are fighting auto rotation with our weight shift and with our outside brake, and we are empowered and confident to pull that fucking brake as hard as we need so that the glider doesn't turn us. All right? If it stalls, so be it. Hope this is helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and join the fucking peanut gallery that is the comment section on this channel. Also, follow me over on Instagram if you haven't already. Love and lift. See you in the next episode.